So one of the main questions that I get often, especially over social media, because again, I have a pretty decent following on TikTok and Instagram and those platforms, and I get these DMs, and I can't answer everybody, but I thought if I make a video, maybe I get a general scope of all these people. And at least one of the questions that people ask, and one of the things that comes up often is, how do I get over heartbreak? Right? Because this is something that we'll all live and we'll all go through, and by no means am I any super expert, do I have every answer, but I feel like I have some grasp through conversations that I've had and through things that I've read and through experiences that we can help guide through these things. And here's the thing, no matter what, we all know what we actually need. We know what we want, we know what's right, we know the advice that we would give someone else, but it's hard to take our own advice. So if I need to just be a voice of remembrance to you, then that's all I'm going to be. And getting over heartbreak is one of those things that is crucial for us to be in anything else, for us to grow, for us to improve. Why? Because we linger on things. We let these things be in our lives for so long that we make them the cornerstone of who we are. And for some people, unfortunately, heartbreak becomes their identity. They have become so used to the pain that they think that this is who they are. And I think just walking through this, being able to just unpack this, allows us to better understand and better grow through this. And I love science because that's actually my background. My background is in microbiology, and I love the way the body works, and the reality that sometimes your body is actually against you. There's certain things, certain chemicals, certain things you need to unlearn or relearn that are happening in your brain, and certain chemicals that are being pumped out that you can actually work on. And if you are aware of these things, it changes that dynamic completely. So I'm going to throw in a little bit of science in there, but I just quick points. How you have to feel your feelings, right? You have to know what you're feeling. You have to allow yourself to feel these things. But here's the catch. You're supposed to feel your feelings, but you're not supposed to make yourself your feelings. You're not supposed to let everything that you're feeling become the full core of who you are. Yes, feel sad. Yes, allow those emotions to go through. Feel angry, feel confused, go through all that, but don't linger in those things, because what's happening is that for a lot of us, we are in this sad state, and we remain in that sad state because it becomes comfortable to feel that pain. So we think that this is the only thing that we're in, and we're afraid to allow these emotions to just come out of us. We're afraid to actually just feel these things. We think that if we stay in one stage, that we'll have some glimpse or some hope of what was, and we're able to hold on to that phase. You have to let these things out. And I tell people often, listen, sometimes you need to write this down. If you need to open up your notes on your iPhone, or write a journal or something, or write them out. Why? Because it helps you see it. There's a psychological study that says that writing things actually helps us take them out of our body. It helps us unpack. And this is the reality, that we need to be able to see what's hurting us so that we can identify it. And sometimes we can't see that thing because we become so nose blind to it, because we become so used to it, that it doesn't allow us to actually get it out of us. So psychologists agree that labeling and processing emotions activates the brain's prefrontal cortex. So it helps regulate and intensify or understand the level of emotion that we're going in. Being able to know why you're hurting is the biggest trick, right? If you know what the pain is and why you're going through this pain, you're going to be able to identify it. You're going to be able to say, okay, because of this, because I didn't get this, or because the action or the step that was taken, or these words that were said, this is why I'm feeling this way. And now you're able to identify that pain and adjust and correct that pain. Our second step here is probably the most cliche of them all, but it's the one you need the most. Block them on everything. Block them on social media, disconnect that connection, unfollow, mute, block, all that stuff. Everything you need to do. Resist the urge to ask mutual friends about them. Why? Because when you are constantly going back to this place, or constantly seeing the person, you're being reminded of something that didn't happen. So what happens is that you're not allowing yourself to feel the pain. For some of us, we are in these wound stages where all we do is keep making the wound bigger by going back to the place that we shouldn't be in. When you're addressing these people or connecting with these people, instead of letting the wound heal, you open the wound, and now it becomes harder and more difficult for it to heal. Why? Because you keep going back to this place. If you have to completely cut them off, do it. If you have to make this whole drastic switch where you don't speak to them at all, listen, do it. It's hard at first. It is so hard in the beginning because you're so used to it. Why? There's a pattern of something that you've been doing. There's a consistent habit of creating this connection, this relationship with this person that you keep going back to. But once you get over that hump, once you get over that stage where it's like, okay, I'm able to just at the very least not think about it every day. Maybe it's just a little less here than there. It becomes so much easier to get the ball rolling. It is impossible for you to heal if you are constantly reminded of this person. And I know in some situations through conversations that I have with people, it becomes difficult because they are in either the same school environment, same work environment, same area at the same time, same friend groups. That's a difficult one. And if there's space that you need to make in between there that you can make, then do it. But at the very least, at the very minimum, get rid of that interaction with social media and connection to these people, because all you're doing is re-agitating this wound. Right? You're coming back to this thing and creating something in you that hurts. A study from the Journal of Cyber says the behavior of and social networking is found that social media surveillance of your ex is linked to higher emotional distress and a harder time to move on. You keep coming back to the wound. You're not going to heal from a place that you keep coming back to. And some of us have made home in our hurt. So we think that if we keep coming back to this, that this is going to finally work or be fixed. It's not. All you're doing is giving yourself this false disillusion that doesn't allow you to actually be in what you are, to actually grow and heal. Step 3 is prioritize yourself. Self-care. And I know this is hard because the first thing that we do is when we fall into these stages of grieving, because you have to grieve the relationship that didn't happen, is that we go into sadness. And again, as I said before, sometimes we make sadness our home and we don't allow ourselves to be better. For some people, we get into such a terrible funk that everything around us begins to deteriorate. But I need you to understand that if you aren't taking care of you, and this is hard, right? I know this is structure, even in general life, like building healthy habits is already hard. But what's happening, especially in this, that if you don't allow yourself to build something healthy and new and good, all you're going to do is deteriorate your entire life. Everything around you is going to hurt, is going to suck, is going to be terrible because you've gone back to a place of hurt. And for that reason, we don't allow ourselves to be better. You can't let these things happen. You can't fall into this doom scrolling on social media where all you do is scroll up and down and spend time in the worst ways possible, or not eat well, or not exercise, or not do anything that's going to help you. And the beauty is that when you take those things and prioritize those, they actually help you heal from that heartbreak. It helps you heal from that wound. Why? Because this now becomes a motivating factor in me. Not just that, scientifically, right? There are hormones that are being released in your body, serotonin, dopamine, all these things are being released when you are doing these things. When you're creating healthy habits, your body actually rewards you for it. So what happens is that it's easier to heal from that. And again, back to the way your brain works, neuroplasticity. When you create new healthy pathways, it helps you deteriorate the ones that aren't helping you. Physical activity has been proven to reduce symptoms of depression by increasing serotonin levels, the feel-good neurotransmitter. So it allows you to literally connect those transmitters and fix things in you. But if you allow yourself to just stay in this hurt place, if you make that home, it makes it so much harder to get out of it. All you're doing is digging the hole deeper, and you're allowing this to be the place where you were made. Our step 4 is rewrite your story that you're telling yourself, and that's a hard one. This is probably the hardest one of them all, right? Because what happens in heartbreak is that we now have to leave a story that we've invented in our mind. We have to leave a person that we foresaw to be in our brain. We created something with them and we think that this is how it should have been. So what happens now is that you have to grieve and break up with all of that. You have to sit there and challenge all these things that you thought were going to be. And what happens is that we think, well, why wasn't I the choice? Why wasn't I lovable? Why didn't you pick me? Why couldn't I have been the person that you made your life with? But the truth is that this has nothing to do with you. Heartbreak hurts and it sucks, but we can't take on the weight of why it didn't work. There are some people that will never understand your worth. They'll never understand your value. They never cared enough to grow in that. And that's not your responsibility to prove to people who you are. And you don't have to sit here and grieve the fact that you think that you're not good enough because they made you feel some type of way. Unfortunately, some relationships just won't work. And it has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with them. It's just the fact that in this stage, in this season that you're in, you guys were not meant to go any further. You weren't meant to be in any other chapters of this book. And allowing yourself to tell yourself that it's okay to let these things go, to move away from it, that it's not your fault, it's going to allow you to heal. But if you keep going back to this thing thinking that this is it, it's going to kill you. Science says that cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, it focuses on reframing negative thoughts. And research shows that it can significantly improve emotional well-being. So you have to change how you think. I say this to people often, if you view life through a grateful lens, everything changes. Right? So if you have gratitude for the next stages in your life, if you're grateful for the things that are good in your life, if you look at the good and you don't focus on the bad, then the good becomes a priority. So out of this, what becomes good? The future becomes better. You're going to get something or someone or in a place in your life that is going to value more of what you didn't have before. And it's okay to heal and rewrite that story. But you can't let that thing be the centerpiece of why you never heal. Our step 5 is you have to lean on your support system. And this one can be hard because some of us don't have friends, right? We don't have these huge groups of people that we hang out with often. We're not always around. But finding things that is going to build community. For me, obviously, church is a huge thing. Finding a church and being a part of a community is going to be big. Finding a gym and the CrossFit things, right, where those are huge community building. Finding people that you can lean on and shift that focus towards that. It changes how you see things. The research from the American Psychological Association, the APA, it says it shows that social support not only buffers against stress, but also speeds up emotional recovery. If you have people around you that you can lean on, that you could be friends with, that you could be open with, it's going to significantly expedite that. It's going to make it so much easier because now you have something else to pour your energy into. Not just energy, but pour your love into. You're going to have a place that you're able to do that. 6, try something new. And again, that ties into our last one, right? Is being able to find something healthy patterns, healthy hobbies, being able to actually create something that's going to be beneficial for us because now we're able to do something that's going to give us a sense of purpose, a sense of connection, a new thing in us that's going to help us heal. Why? Because you're not lingering and focused on that whole thing. And finally, our number 7 is give it time. I think that's one of the easiest methods of healing is time. Yes, if you don't go back to the things and you'll keep repeating the cycles, but one of the easiest methods is allowing yourself to literally heal. And there's actually a number that it's a study of the Journal of Positive Psychology. It found that most people feel significantly better 11 weeks after a breakup. I think it varies in some situations. Obviously, it depends how long you're with the person. I heard a rule of thumb once that it was half the time that it took for you to be in that relationship. So if you're in a relationship for 4 years, then 2 years typically is the time that frame that takes for you to be fully healed. We will never be fully healed. To be clear, there's always going to be something in us that we feel like we need to fix, or something in us that we feel like it didn't heal completely. There's always going to be something that needs to change in your life. But time is your best friend. If you're going through something, you need to realize that you've gone through other things, and they might not be the same. They might not all equate the same way, but you've healed from those things. You've recovered from those things. So knowing that there is actually a time frame for you, or has been a time frame where you have healed from something, it's understanding that there is a chance, that there is hope, that there is a difference that's going to be made. But you can't keep holding on to things that have hurt you and becoming okay with it. Yes, heartbreak sucks. And yes, we'll go through it. And yes, we live through it. But that can't be the center point of why you don't move, of why you don't heal. Don't make that relationship the reason your life doesn't change. You have permission to heal, to change, to grow. You don't have to stay where you are.